what are those called? I don't
Like
know.
gummy bears.
Yeah, gummy bears. That's what I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Gummy bears. He wanted me to
Yeah.
put those in my ass. And so
Yes.
I did. I just put a couple in my asshole.
Did you push him out?
Yes.
Did you had to eat them? You kind of have to put it out for them, but it's just like I don't know how to do that. And so
Yeah.
for you as a adult, person, how did you get the confidence to be like, this is my titties and here they are?
Yeah. Honestly, I just didn't give a fuck. Like, I know very simple, but like,
So would you ever go back? Would you get a 9 to 5? Would you give up the lifestyle, or is it good for what is it worth it?
yeah. So that's another good question.
I'm very excited, but
Me too.
okay, well, hello everyone. Welcome to Kurious. My name is Cayman, and on today's episode, I am joined by, I'm going to call her an adult creator, content creator. Please welcome Amber to the show. Welcome. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. And as I said before I did the intro, I am super excited.
I'm excited too. I think it'll be fun.
Awesome. You know, I guess first of all, I don't even know if I can say. So we're just going to say for like the duration of this show, we'll just say like our adult stuff or whatever. The people they know what we're talking about. But I've said on this podcast numerous times the amount of times I've gotten caught watching. And so for such right now I have a Twitter, and I'm sure you're very familiar with Twitter.
Totally.
That's the only thing I use Twitter for. It's to the point where sometimes I get headaches and I'm like, I need to stop. And it's so hard for me to use Twitter the normal way, which sounds so bad. But it's just also interesting that on my platform, I got an adult entertainer person through just a real, genuine connection, which is odd because I just think with the rise of social media and like OnlyFans in 2020, like adult content creating has become such a tangible object now, and it's so normal. So I'm just, I'm rambling. This is how I get when I'm excited. I start the ramble. So
I'm the same way. I
I'm
did
super excited.
it.
Awesome. Okay, so I ask all my guests this as we start. The first question I always ask. So let's say, for example, in this scenario, you have passed away. You were testing out a new vibrator and it just shocked you, and then you died. If your family members and friends and loved ones had to write an obituary for you, what are some of the things they would say about you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think it would depend on who you ask, because I like to be one of those people who can wear many masks.
Hmm.
Um, but I'd say kind. Um, I think they'd say adventurous. I can be a bit of a risk taker. Um, I think they'd say emotional. I'm a very emotional, sensitive person. I lean a little neurotic, but I also am good at analyzing things. So typically my emotions don't affect other people. Um,
Hmm.
my partner might say differently, but
Hmm.
friends wise, family wise, I think they would say that I wear my heart on my sleeve. So just very passionate, emotional person.
What is your sign? Have we talked about this? But what is
Sure.
your sign?
I don't think
You're
we
Cancer.
have
Okay.
cancer.
I was like, I can either go fire, but once you said emotional, I was like, oh, it's definitely a water sign.
Yeah.
It is so interesting because I love cancers.
What are
They're
you?
just like, I'm a Sagittarius.
Oh my God, my boyfriend's a Sagittarius. I love that.
I love that too. We have well, for pulling the curtain, me and you met through a mutual friend, and that mutual friend also dates Sagittarius as well. Like her last boyfriend was a Sagittarius too. And so we go out all the time. And then her boyfriend would come and he's a Sag. She's also a water sign. I think water signs are emotional. I think fire signs, from what I've learned, and it's interesting because I was just having this conversation with my mom about like how she met my dad, and one of my uncles was like to my dad, like, I'm surprised you're dating my sister. And he was like, why? And she was like, she just never dates anyone, she doesn't bring anyone close, and we're fire signs. And I 100% agree. Like, we emotionally, we just don't I don't know. It's just it's blocked somewhere. So when
Yeah.
we have the people around us that are emotional, it's like, oh, okay, it feels like a balance to me.
Yeah, that makes sense. I actually don't know that much about Sagittariuses because,
Hmm.
or, well, I won't say his name, I guess, but
I'll bleep it out.
thank you, thank you.
Yes.
He, he's the second or third Sag that I've dated, but I haven't had any
Hmm.
Sag friends just by chance.
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
I don't know that much about them. So I'm still kind
Hmm.
of like trying to learn as we navigate our
Hmm.
relationship. So you even just saying that was like, wow, that's like exactly our relationship.
Hmm.
The words. That's crazy.
Yes. Yes. What were your other people say that we're Sagittarius, and I don't know why. So as someone who's dating them, what is the ugly side of us?
Oh, that's
Or I
hard.
guess ugly is such a harsh word, but like what's the underbelly of us?
Yeah. I mean, I think what you just said for me would be it because with my partner, we'll call him Toby. Uh, that's my name for him on my
Yes.
um so Toby is he feels very deeply, but he's not good at expressing it or showing it or anything of the sorts, you know? And so I think the downside, especially in like a partnership, is if he's
Yes.
feeling some type of way, it's going to take him a while to realize that he is, and it's most likely going to take me sensing something being off for it to
Yes.
be discussed. And it
Hmm.
would, I mean, I'd rather have that than like I couldn't date a Cancer. Like it
Yes.
that'd be way too much emotions all the time. So
Yes.
it's a good and a bad, but I'd say that's probably the most annoying thing about it.
Yes, I love that because I mean I just feel like you're reading me like my mom's the same. Well, I just said that my mom's a Sag, and the person that we know mutual has a boyfriend. That's kind of a reason why they broke up, not to like put their business out there. So it's just, yeah, I guess I feel that I feel that. So yeah, that's nice to know. Okay,
Yeah.
cool, cool.
It can be a good thing for sure. Yeah. Don't shy
Yes,
away from who you are at the end of the day. I
yes,
mean, my family's like
perfect.
that.
Yes. I was gonna say too, I have another friend in the same group. She's also I'm always around a lot of water signs, and another one is a Pisces. And I was just over at her house, and she was like, I want to be honest. She was like, sometimes it's just hard to know how to love you. And I knew exactly what she meant because if you go through all of the five love languages, I have like she's like, we can't give you gifts. If we give you compliments, you're weird about it. You don't like to spend time. Like, and it's because I'm just very by myself and like I want to just be in my little cocoon of safety. And
Totally.
so when people show me that like we're here for you, it's like, oh, okay, cool, but like do that over there. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I feel what you're saying.
Yeah. That's so interesting. I could totally see Toby kind of relating to that,
Yeah,
especially with
yeah.
his friendships. So yeah. How
Yes, yes.
interesting.
I know. Okay, so let's get started because I'm super excited and I want to know, I want to start from the beginning. First of all, what was your relationship to adult content when you were growing up? Before you even started doing it, like what was your relationship before you started?
Yeah, good question. I grew up super religious actually.
Hmm.
So I was always pretty open-minded, but for the most part, I was fairly against it. Um,
Mm.
at least in like younger years. I think once I got to, college-ish or a little past that, I was open-minded about it, but
Hmm.
still wouldn't have been okay with like my partner watching it or
Hmm.
using it or anything. I didn't use it myself at all until I started doing it myself. Um, and honestly, it was like it was probably 6 months into it that I was like, I should probably see what the hype is all about and watch or record. And Toby, my partner, explained because we were long distance for a long time that he uses it just occasionally. And I didn't like the thought of it, but I was like, no, I should explore this more. Because I do it. I can't be not okay
Hmm.
with him using it when I do it.
Hmm.
And that just got me thinking, talking to more people about it. And now I have a good relationship with it. But yeah, I initially had no correlation with it whatsoever.
Hmm.
It's kind of
Hmm.
crazy that it's now what I do.
Hmm. What was so you said you grew up religious, right?
Mhm.
What was I grew up religious too. How do you view religion now? As someone
Yeah.
who does what you do, how what's religion to you today?
Yeah, I'm a fairly spiritual person.
Hmm.
Um, I don't I don't want to knock religion in the sense of like
Mm-hmm.
it brings so much joy to some people.
Mm-hmm.
My parents are religious. Toby's parents are religious. A lot of people are. And it
Mm-hmm.
brings them hope. It brings them peace. And I don't want to say that that's a bad thing. But for me personally, and I traveled a lot a few years ago and really tried to figure this out for myself. I just discovered that being the epitome of religious, so like only talking about Jesus, only listening to Jesus music, like not really pushing your boundaries in terms of like deciding what your moral code is, but
Mm-hmm.
what you feel okay with. It just felt I don't wrong. It just felt like instead of knowing myself, I was following some blind scripture that
Yes.
was written by man anyways, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
And so I'm here for it, but and I'll go to church with my friends. Like if I have friends that, I'm like I'm not saying absolutely not, but
Yes.
more likely than not, I'm gonna find so much more spiritual fulfillment from talking with a friend about our
Yes.
spiritual beliefs or talking to the universe slash God myself alone and listening to my intuition. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that was a
Mm-hmm.
brief way of putting it. Brief as I can
No,
get. I'm a talker.
no, I love that. I love that because it gives me so much. I had to get my notes and I had to get my pen. I was like, okay, hold on. So I like that. No, I relate 100%. I know I maybe I've touched on my spiritual journey on here. I can't remember, but everything that you said is how I felt. Where it was just like at first I loved it because my it was just me and my mom and it was fun. I was young too. That's another thing. I was young and my cousins were there. It felt like a community.
Mhm.
I don't want to say when my dad entered in, things changed, but when my dad entered in, things changed and it became a routine and a schedule that we had to do. And then I don't know if it's the timing of being a teenager and then coming into my own, but I just don't like a forced routine that is not, I just don't like a forced routine.
Yeah.
So that made me put off God for a long time, just that pettiness.
Mhm.
But then even as an adult, like, and battling with my sexuality is like, I don't know how to make sense of this because growing up from like the mid 2000s, it was all over the media, people like being gay people like dying and stuff like that. But then when I go to church, it's like it's not like my church said anything negative, but they didn't say anything at all, right?
Yeah.
And then you can like, count in the choir how many gay people there are and they're happy. But then when I go on the TV, it's a whole different story. And I couldn't, it was just too much.
For sure.
And so it also is hard to like, yeah, it was just too much. And I had to be like, enough is enough. But I think you travel a lot. I do drugs a lot, and so I feel like that's a psychedelic travel. And through our travels, we found spirituality, and kind of to me, I had to form a different God and have a different meaning in order for me to continue. And like you said, is for a lot of people, it's like their anchor.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take that away from them because a lot of bad things can happen if you start taking religion away. So I'm like, y'all, just if you need it, here you go. But for
Yeah.
me, yeah. So you said you did corn before you met your relationship, right? Is that correct?
Oh, actually, no. I met Toby years and years ago, but we started dating and it was probably about a year-ish in.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe before that, actually. Maybe,
Mm-hmm.
no, yeah. About a year in is when I brought
Okay.
up the idea of me doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What got you to that point? What made you say, this is what I want to do?
Yeah. So I first of all knew somebody who had started
Mm-hmm.
it. We weren't close friends by any means, but
Mm-hmm.
um we had been close at one point in our lives. I heard a rumor that she did it. She happened to be in
Mm-hmm.
town where I was living. But before all that, I was already toying with the idea, partially because of money. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
realistically, like I was living in Denver. I was making 50,000 a year and I was broke. Like it's just very expensive to live out there in general and to just have a life
Mm-hmm.
in general as well. And so I was depressed and was just trying to make money and wanted just a different avenue. And then I also was, like most women, sexually
Mm-hmm.
assaulted in my life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it that just takes away all of your empowerment, you know?
Yes.
And so
Yes.
I just wanted to feel empowered. And I was like,
Yeah.
back when I was younger again, I was like, no, I would never do that. It's like horrible, like whatever, like not going to judge them for doing it, but like I'm never going
Yeah.
to do it. And
Yeah.
then as I got older and I just started thinking about it more, I was like, you know what? That's kind of taking the power back. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if an old man's staring at my tits, like,
Mm-hmm.
fuck you. But
Mm-hmm.
if they're paying me $10
Mm-hmm.
to look,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, that's fair. That's a
Mm-hmm.
transaction,
Yeah.
And it's like, I know
Yeah.
people are going to be looking at me that way anyways. I might as
Yes.
well get
Yes.
paid for it and just,
Yeah.
it's a skill. Like, who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah. I just saw TikTok too. I wish I could remember it. It kind of touched on that thing that was some women who get assaulted. I think they were trying to say use adult entertainment as a way to get their power back, but that is such to me like I want to dive so deeper in that, but it's also so touchy because I'm not a woman, right? So I don't know what it's like for a man. My our friend Erica would tell me like she's so comfortable around me because then it's like a protection for the other guys. And I guess as a guy, I just don't see it as much. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is sucks that you had to go through that to get to where you are today. Do you think if you went through that, you would be where you are today? If you didn't get that, if that moment didn't happen, would you still be where you are?
I do think so, mostly because even like with the example that I just shared about like the old
Yeah.
man staring, like that
Yeah.
shit happens. Sorry for
Yes.
cussing.
No.
Like
We were talking
honestly,
about corn.
okay, you're right, you're right. That happens so much to where,
Yes.
and I appreciate you saying that about not knowing what it's like to be a woman. I really appreciate when people do
Hmm.
say that. I mean, we obviously all go through our own problems,
Hmm.
but and struggles. But it does suck, frankly, because stuff like that happens like every day.
Hmm.
And even if I had no assault, even nothing, even borderline assault, like men are
Yeah.
still going to, I shouldn't just say men, but
Yeah.
people are still going to sexualize me and make it
Yeah.
known, even if it's just with their eyes or
Yes.
with a comment that could be. So
Yeah.
yeah, I do think I would, regardless of that.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah. One thing that pisses me off so much about some men, and I put some in like small letters, is that because I'm gay, if they're not, if I don't know what's wrong, but some of them will be like, stay away from me. You know what I mean? Like, there's this guy in this gym, and I don't know. I mean, it could be thoughts in my head, but he asked me to spot him. I spot him, and then it just feels like the body language is like every time I'm near, he just, you could just tell. And that also happens amongst other guys where they're super uncomfortable around me. And in my world, it's so plain as like the sky in the day. It's like, how are you uncomfortable around me, but what you do to them, it's totally normal. Like, how do you not see it from their point of view? Like, I see you.
Yeah.
I literally was at the gym the other day watching this guy eyeball the fuck out of this girl on the treadmill, and he didn't know that I was watching him, and I got so uncomfortable because I kept looking at him. I'm like, someone's gonna watch me look at him, but I'm
Yeah.
looking at him because he keeps staring at her, and because she's not seeing him, he just continues. And I'm just
Wow.
like, but if that was me, not saying this would be that guy, but if the tables were turned, it would be, why are you looking at me, go away, blah 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 blah. But they can never see how that interaction would be so inappropriate. But I don't know, I guess they just don't care and they don't have to care, and
Like
I
I
guess that's
feel
the
like
culture.
societal norms
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I'm sure, at least to some degree,
Hmm.
but that is such a good perspective. I've never
Hmm.
thought about
Hmm.
that. And I'm sure just like
Hmm.
homophobia is part of it
Yeah.
too, but like even
Yes.
like in general, like most
Yeah.
women, like I hate being hit on. Like I hate it.
Yes.
Like even when I was
Yes.
single, I hated it. You know? Like it's just annoying. Like if someone was really creative, it was fun.
Yes.
Then I was
Yes.
like,
Yes.
okay, like this is
Yeah.
I have fun with it now, and especially in like a flirty way, but like when it's transactional, like I said, but like I hate it. So why would
Yeah.
be stared at like that when you're shying away by you just
Yes.
being next to them. Like
Yes.
they just don't
Yes.
understand. I think
Yes. Yes.
ignorance maybe too. I don't
I
know.
don't know. At this point, I just I'm not chalking up to ignorance. I'm not chalking up to society.
Mm.
It's you. You are a grown ass man. You want to be a king. You want to be the leader. You got to start rethinking things, and you got to start taking accountability. If you don't, then I'm just so over giving people that, like, oh, it's just society. Oh, no, it's not.
Mhm.
Enough is enough. Like, stop
Right.
that crap. So
Yep.
for me, I'm just like, it's over. Tell me how do guys hit on you? Like, how does it, like, what do they do? Like, what's so bad?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what w- none of it is really even that bad. I think I'm just annoyed with it. Like
Yeah.
obviously like I have my social media, men will
Mm-hmm.
hit on me and say weird stuff all the
Mm-hmm.
time. That's pretty
Mm-hmm.
standard, especially for a corn star, but I
Mm-hmm.
think this one bothers me just because it's like a gym thing. Like I work out
Yeah.
a lot, I lift weights, and
Yes.
it's not like it makes me angry that they're trying. Like most
Yes.
of the time, I'm like, good for you, you know, for putting yourself out there. But what I have a lot of guys do, specifically at the gym too, like one guy, this was, I don't know, 6 months ago or so, and I was working out and he interrupts my workout, which like
Yeah.
is annoying.
Yes.
And he's just like, hey, like you could tell me to like get the fuck away if you want. Like you could tell me to get the
Yeah.
fuck away, but like I really want to take you on a date. Like, is that possible? And I was like, did you really think that was gonna work? Like telling like if you're gonna hit on me
Yes.
and there are times when it doesn't bother me because it's like if you've put thought and effort and
Yes.
like practice confidence, you exude confidence, you
Yes.
would like to land this date and you
Yes.
try it out, then I'm like, thank you. But
Yes. Yeah.
so many men, it's like I don't know if it's impulsive or if it's
Mm-hmm.
dumb, but they like or they'll be rude and think they're flirting. Like they just don't put the effort
Yes.
in. They're just like, "Oh, I can get this girl. Watch me go
Yes.
on her," you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's just like, when does that work for you,
Mm-hmm.
buddy? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I feel you. I feel like we could talk about men all day.
What's true? They're the
Okay.
worst.
So when you started, I want to know, how did you come up with your stage name?
Ooh, yeah. Um, so actually when I was in camp, when I went to camp when I was younger, someone just told me that I looked like an amber.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I just liked that idea. I always wanted to
Yeah.
change my name anyways, and then just for
Mm-hmm.
safety purposes, I thought it'd be good to like
Mm-hmm.
change it. And then the last name, I honestly, because I created my OnlyFans like pretty much on a whim, um,
Mm-hmm.
and like writing the motivational high of like, oh, I could have success with this. And
Mm-hmm.
so Daniels just seemed like a pretty common last name. And so I was like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, Amber Daniels, like that's it. And then
Nice.
my middle name, my fake middle name is Sophie because that's what I was supposed to be named as a kid or
Oh.
child. And so, and I liked it a lot. I wished my parents named me Sophie. So I was like, okay, Amber, Sophie, Daniels.
I mean, how many times do you ask an adult star, how did you get your name? I feel like if I had to interview adult stars, that would be the intro question. Like, tell me how you made your
Yeah.
name.
I
Because
hope you
people,
interview more because I'm curious too on how.
I, to your lips to God's ears, I feel like I said this in the beginning, but it's super hard to get guests. And I don't know how long this is going to go, but hopefully I don't want it to end. But getting guests is like, it's like pulling teeth. And I
Really?
get it, but it's frustrating. So
I
we'll
can try to
see.
help if you want. I mean, I've got lots of friends in the industry that would probably love to talk about it. We get lonely, you know, we just work by ourselves.
Listen, I get lonely. So if you want to be like, hey, you're lonely and you want to talk to someone who's also lonely, please. I'm at the point where I will talk to almost anyone.
I love
So
it.
yes, yes.
Cool.
Okay, so when you first started, when did you start? Like, what year did you start?
Yeah, I started in what years? I it's 2024 now. I started it in September of 2022.
Okay, okay. So like 2 years ish. Okay.
Yeah,
Because some people say that,
I was gonna say it's
some
like
people,
1.5-ish, yeah.
okay, okay. Some people say that the adult entertainment crowd is so saturated now that when you start, it's going to be like super hard. When you started, when we talked, you talked about your success, like where you are today. So
Mhm.
when you started, how was it building to where you are today?
Yeah, so when I started, it kind of depended, like it's the whole market is very saturated.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it comes down to marketing. So like how are the Instagram and TikTok
Mm-hmm.
algorithms doing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first started, I got very lucky and kind of popped off immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there was like highs and lows, like there always is in an industry like this. Um, but I kind of popped off because the TikTok algorithm was solid.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, it just started flagging videos more, and
Mm-hmm.
it got more difficult. Um, I also my prices were really high when I first started because I was just
Mm-hmm.
like probably not going to have any success with this, so what am I going to lose?
Yes.
But when I eventually lowered those to where they were at, average pricing, and branched out to use Instagram as my primary way of marketing, and just like grinded work.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning I didn't have to work as much. Then I
Mm-hmm.
had to work a shit ton a year ago because I was relying on only TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I wouldn't say I'm working a shit ton, but I'm still putting in more effort than I was in the very
Mm-hmm.
beginning
Mm-hmm.
for that same reason of things being just saturated.
Mm-hmm. And so you said when we talked before, you said the type of content that you create is just solo content. Is that correct?
So I do have some videos with Toby, and then I have
Gotcha.
several videos with other women. So I just
Okay.
actually released a GGG threesome video
Yes.
this week. So that's exciting.
Girl on girl threesome.
Yeah.
Is there another guy in there?
Nope, it's girl, girl, girl. So it's just three
Okay, so it's
girls
three
all
girls,
fucking
three
each other.
girls. Well, what? I mean, like, is this like a self-expression thing? Like, because clearly you have to. I don't. I want to say clearly you have to want to have a threesome with women, but it sounds like if you're an independent adult star, it's like, what are my fantasies, and can I express those fantasies? So when you're coming up with your ideas, is it business ideas? Is it I want to have fun? Is it just opportunity? Like, how do
Yeah.
you just figure out what you want to do and execute what you want to do?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both
Yeah.
because I am bi.
Mm-hmm.
I never explored when I was single though.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, Toby is comfortable with me exploring now.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
problem is, I think subconsciously, when you start filming something knowing that there's going to be thousands of people seeing it, it takes
Mm-hmm.
away some of the emotion because you're
Mm-hmm.
focused on the business.
Yes.
I'm not gonna say that it's solely business. Like we are genuinely having fun. Like we're
Yes.
like the laughing is real. Like the moaning is real. But
Yeah.
like it's never going to be the same
Yeah.
as. And it's like another layer is just like I don't have a relation like a sexual relationship with these girls specifically
Yes.
until we're going at it, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll flirt and stuff until then. Like we keep it as natural as we can.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just an added layer that I don't think
Mm-hmm.
I thought there would be when I
Mm-hmm.
started collabing with other people.
Did you think? Because I had that's what I had written down. Is there a difference? Based off for what you're saying, the answer is yes. But is there a difference between the content that you're making and then your personal content that you make by yourselves and just with your partner? Because when I see stars and they have or whatever the word we're using, and they have partners, I'm always like, how do you not detach, but can you separate that? Do people
Yeah.
separate that? And is it easy? Is it hard? Is it natural when you make content to separate those two?
Yeah, so that's a good question. And I do think the answer is going to be different for every
Mm-hmm.
creator, totally. Because
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to some of my friends about this too. For me, it adds a layer because Toby is very camera shy. He's a very
Mm-hmm.
private person. He doesn't
Mm-hmm.
want, anything out there, which, like, I get it. Sagittarius life.
Yes.
But he is very much willing to help me
Yes.
because it's hard to think of video ideas all on my own. So with him, it's less exploratory, but it is pretty genuine because we
Mm-hmm.
have such a strong relationship. We love our sex
Mm-hmm.
life. So
Mm-hmm.
when there's a camera, we're a little bit more timid and nervous,
Mm-hmm.
but it's real and raw and like
Mm-hmm.
very similar to what it would be
Yeah.
if there wasn't a camera there.
Yeah. I laugh because once again to pull the curtain back, this before this, like, because I'm struggling to get guests, it's forcing me to be like, what's the next step? And
Mhm.
so I'm like, I was talking to my therapist, and I was like, do I just like talk to the camera by myself? Like, it's so nerve wracking. And we talk about how, all through my life, even up to college, I've always done something like this. But it was for work, right? So you can kind of hide behind the timidness because,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I got a musical, but I'm playing a character, right? Oh, yeah, I'm hosting, but it's my job, right? When it's like this, it's just so raw and it's so interesting. And then when this is all turned off, I'm still talking. Trust me, people, I do not shut up, especially when I'm high. I'm pacing around this damn apartment holding full interviews. And so I'm like, how do I get that Cayman to sit here and produce that for the meantime? Because a lot of people are like, you need to put your personality out there. And they're like, it's here, when we're sitting here. But people are not going to come in here to find your personality. You kind of have to put it out for them. But it's just like, I don't know how to do that. And so
Yeah.
for you as a adult, person, how did you get the confidence to be like, this is my titties and here they are?
Yeah. Honestly, I just didn't give a fuck. Like, I know that's very simple, but like, it's so sweet when I talk to Toby about his beliefs.
Yes.
He's like, he's so sweet, and he's like, part of why he's camera shy is he's like, what everyone else sees is my exact vision of you and I intimately. Like, I kind
Yeah.
of want that to myself. Like, that's so fucking precious, but
Hmm.
like, I just don't care. And
Hmm.
he was like, "Well, if you were in my shoes," and I was like, "I still don't think I'd care because, like,
Yes.
it's a business at the end of the
Yeah.
day, and people are gonna picture me like that no matter what." So,
Yeah.
and like, I honestly didn't think I had nice tits until I started, but now that I think I have nice tits, I'm like,
Hmm.
so what if people see them? Like,
Hmm.
it's a human body, like it's art.
Hmm.
Like all of this
Hmm.
is art in some way,
Hmm.
shape, or form. It's just deemed as bad or naughty or
Hmm.
whatever because
Hmm.
I don't know, society, I guess.
It's deemed as bad as naughty because look at how much money you can possibly make.
True.
I
Mhm.
think about all those men who throw money at these women to kick them in the balls. I've seen men. I was downtown and uptown, and there was this guy in a latex suit, or the dominatrix was in a latex suit. He was too, but it was just his mouth that was in, I guess, in latex, and she had a collar on him and was dragging him across the street. I mean, it was at night, but he was walking on his hands and knees while she was carrying him in uptown,
Wild.
and I just I'm like, this is the secret how to control these men. And that's probably why they don't want you guys to sell your bodies. Because look at what happens when you show your tits, they will do almost anything. So
Yeah,
do you take private requests?
I do. Yeah. So I used to do like FaceTimes. I don't do those anymore. Just because those are pretty emotionally taxing, I've
Hmm.
noticed. Um, but custom videos I do make. They're definitely
Hmm.
expensive, but I love making those because it feels like I'm helping someone else fulfill their fantasy,
Hmm.
like their
Hmm.
specific
Hmm.
fantasy that maybe I look like someone they know or whatever that may be. Um, yeah, I do those and I really like doing those.
Right. What is the most craziest, outlandish request that you've gotten?
Oh, that's a good
One
one.
that you can share.
Yeah, yeah. One there's so many requests, honestly, that they
Yeah.
went in one ear out the other. One though that my friends like laugh at sometimes, was he wanted me to put like gummy teddy bears, like little gummy,
Yes.
what are those called? I don't
Like
know,
gummy
little,
bears.
yeah, gummy bears. That's what I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't care. He wanted me to
Yeah.
put those in my ass. And so
Yes.
I did. I just put a couple in my asshole.
Did you push him out?
Yes.
Did you had to eat them?
No.
Okay, okay, okay,
No,
okay,
I did not.
okay.
There's been other weird ones like watching, like some men will like want to dress up in lingerie themselves and then
Yes.
me comment on or me encourage them to like suck a dildo or something like that.
Yeah.
Like that's another, like I've gotten that a couple times. Um there's lots of weird ones, honestly.
Yeah.
But I try to be supportive unless they're like morally not okay, which I do get
Mm-hmm.
requests like that too. I try
Mm-hmm.
to fully support them all because I'm like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why you have that kink, but you have
Yeah.
that. So,
What's morally not okay?
oh, like pedophilia. Like I've had some people,
Oh,
yeah, I've had several men request for videos where I'm pretending to be under 18,
wow.
something like that or along those lines.
Yeah.
And I have to draw a
Yeah.
firm boundary, and I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to pretend to be
Yeah.
anywhere close to under 18. Like that's just
Yeah.
not okay with me. Sorry. And
Right.
if it's
Yeah.
bad enough, I will report and block them because I
Yes.
don't want that, coming back on me and then me getting flagged or something along the line.
Yes. I feel that when I'm trying to get these like anonymous callers, I'm putting a Craigslist ad, and I get a couple people who are like, I want to do things to my little sister, or like I want to do things like this girl's like I have a crush on my dad and brother. I'm like, I'm like, I don't even know if any of you guys are real. Like, why would I even entertain this conversation? Like, I don't even know if this is a real, like, it could be a person that's just like shooting, just trying to be funny. But
Yeah,
I'm like, why? I don't know. Maybe I guess if you're a podcaster looking for people on Craigslist, maybe they just assume you're that type of podcaster. So I guess I got to
true. Who
choose
knows?
wisely, but I was like,
That's crazy
no.
though.
Yeah, it's
Oh
it's
gosh.
wild.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, another one, just while we're on the subject,
Yes.
bestiality is something too.
Yes.
There was one guy who was talking about how hot he thinks like bestiality is, and then
Yeah.
shortly after was like, "Can I see a picture of your dog?" And I was like, "Fuck no."
What the
No, I reported his ass and blocked him like right away. It was like within the same like few messages. Oh, what in the world?
Can I see a picture of your what were you gonna just do? Like if you just sent him a picture of your dog just chasing a ball, that would be what he needed?
I straight up think, yeah, he wanted to. I probably a side by side of me and the dog, something like that. I was like, oh, I'm going to
Just you
throw up.
holding your dog just naked and just like here you go. Wow, that
Isn't
is
that crazy?
crazy. It
Yeah.
is. It's just so I was watching this anime called Blue Eye Samurai. It's on Netflix and
Oh, I bet
um
somebody's watching that right now.
asking because there's this a character who's a madam, and so she runs a brothel, and she's teaching these women how to be strong, and like, these. She has this a beautiful monologue where she was telling this girl like, if you want to control your life, you got to control. She was a princess, and the king was like running her amok. And the maiden was like, she was like, they're not even strong. They come in here and they ask us to be their moms and like spank them, and they put pride in their dick even though it's out, so it's easy to grab and cut. Blah 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 blah. And she's like, if you want to control your life, you got to control his life. And so this princess went into the brothel for protection, but the madam at that time didn't know, so she put her to work. And this one guy couldn't get hard, but he loved poetry, and she knew that. And as a princess, she was well versed in poetry. So she's like, "Do you know this artist?" And so she started speaking to him, and I guess the poetry got him aroused, and then she was writing him while they were reciting poetry. And I'm just like, what the fuck am I watching? Like, what am I
That's kind of
watching?
wild. I think I need to watch that. That sounds really good.
Yes. But yeah, I was like crazy, crazy, crazy. So
Wow.
now that you're in the world, do you have any favorite adult content creators that you like? Like, I guess now, what is your appreciation of the world? Because you started a little, I don't know about you, and now
Yeah.
you're fully immersed. So,
Yeah.
how is your relationship with this world now?
Yeah, I think more than anything, I admire when people are authentic because
Mm-hmm.
that's something I still don't like the basic
Mm-hmm.
like typical definition of like corn. So like
Yes.
extreme moaning and like
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Yes.
Super exaggerated shit. Like I hate
Yes.
that.
Me
So like
too.
right. And my personal favorite is still like really intro level, but I just like soft. Like
Yes.
I
Yes.
like the passionate. So I don't even like to see
Yes.
their faces because like that makes it too much for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I like it because it's authentic and it's like
Mm-hmm.
they have pleasure in
Mm-hmm.
sharing themselves with the world. I would
Mm-hmm.
like to watch that and enjoy it
Mm-hmm.
myself. So when I see really authentic people,
Mm-hmm.
um, or even on just really authentic videos, I really appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know if there'd be specific people that I look up to, um,
Mm-hmm.
necessarily, especially because I do watch mostly faceless stuff. Um, but yeah, just anyone who values authenticity, love it. All for
I
it.
didn't know people made faceless. I guess I did. Like, I guess I see ski masks. I guess so. Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about, yeah, because there's people on Twitter who like show just their body. It's
Yeah.
interesting because like for me, gay like dick size is like the thing, and then like when they have a big one. So I remember this guy named like Donkey. Do you know Girthmaster?
Yeah, I actually think I talked to him on like Twitter before or something. I think I don't know, we like almost went to like a creator meetup or something like that.
Yes.
And chatted
Yes.
briefly.
He was on a what's those YouTube like the cut or spectrum or something like that, where it was a line of corn stars and he was one of them, and there's people who don't do corn. It was like pick the corn stars out of this group, and so like talk to them and like try to pick the corn stars. And the joke, well, the gag was everyone was a corn star. And
Oh,
so then they were like, do you guys know each other? And every person was like, we know him. And he was just like, yeah, and he's like such like this big giant teddy bear. And
yeah.
like the girls were like, oh my God, it's Chris Master. Like, oh my God. And so
Oh,
I had to
cool.
look him up. I'm like, holy crap, you're like a real big deal. And no pun
Yeah.
intended, but God, Jesus Christ Almighty. And then he is very pansexual. So he has content with a lot of other people.
Yeah.
So I was like,
And
okay, okay. And then I just saw him on TikTok too. Someone asked him what he does and how much he made. And so I was like, do you know Garth Master? So
yeah,
yeah, I guess you do.
yeah. I would like to think if I did collabs, I'd collab with him, or did collabs with other men, I'd collab with him. I don't think that'll realistically ever happen
Yeah,
because just I don't know. Toby's not okay with it. I don't know if
yeah,
I'd be comfortable with it, just being in like
yeah,
a committed relationship.
yeah.
But yeah, he seemed like a very cool person, just like down to
Hmm.
earth in the end, and very, very big.
Hmm.
Crazy.
Does that not, do you, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to rip in pieces. Do you not ever get like, I'm going to rip in pieces?
So
Okay.
funny story actually about this collab that I just recently did. So I did the threesome collab or like the GGG
Yeah.
collab, and then I did a single collab with one of the girls,
Yeah.
and her dildos were way bigger
Jesus
than mine,
Lord.
and she used a strap-on on me, and
Wow.
she's like going in me for the first time on camera. It hurt so bad,
Yes.
and I stuck it out, but I was like, "Oh my gosh, like how?" Like mine are all
Yes.
very relatively normal size, and hers
Yeah.
were huge.
Did
So
you have
yeah.
lube at least?
Yeah, oh yeah, a lot of
Okay,
it.
thank God.
Yeah, thank God.
I don't like dildos. It's so weird. They don't have the same feeling as a real life one. And then the real life one comes with other things that I need. So
Yes.
it's just like, yeah, it's just not for me. I need the entire
Yeah,
package. Like, also,
I get
none,
it.
no pun intended. So yeah. But
Mhm.
going back to that is gross. I remember, well, not gross, but that extreme. I remember growing up watching Brazzers. That was my very first like intro to corn, and it was like this high production straight site. And I just remember really as a kid not liking it for
Mhm.
multiple reasons, but at that time, I really focused on the guy. I knew the videos based off of the guy. Talking to my straight friends now, I know that's not what they do. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, that makes more sense. But seeing these girls like spread ego, you can see their bags in their fake breast implants, the eyeliner, the blonde hair, the nails. I was like, this, and then the annoying moaning. I'm like, thank God this guy is attractive. And I didn't really know that's what I was paying most attention to at that time.
Yeah.
But I was like, I can't imagine how men watch this. And then I personally wish there was more intimacy. And that's what I have a hard time with my sex life is I feel like the guys that I guess I pick, I don't really know. They just are fuckers, and they see what they see on and they just do
Yeah.
that. And then when I talk to people like I want more passion, I want more intimacy, they're like, "Oh, that comes with emotions." I'm like, "I don't think it comes with emotions. I just think it comes with knowing how to just have a different trick in your bag when it comes to sex." And I think a lot of
Yeah.
guys just know how to stick to one thing and not know how
Yeah.
to branch out. So yeah, I would love for more. And then another thing I'll say, and I'll shut up.
No, you're
I
good.
watched a gay video directed by a female, and that I think about that video all
Oh,
the time. It was so good. It was so romantic. It was intimate, but it was like the sex that I want, where it's not like boring intimate, like we're English people having sex in front of a fire. Like there was still some like I'm going to give you some back blows, but for the most part, it was still a good, well-rounded video, and I think about
Yeah.
those all the time. So
I'm
yeah,
sure you're not alone too, because my brother's gay,
yeah.
and he's 23 years old. He's never even had a first
Mm-hmm.
kiss before.
Mm-hmm.
And he also struggles with some pretty severe mental health issues. But even
Mm-hmm.
regardless of that, like he's vented to me so many times about how the reason he hasn't had a boyfriend or a
Mm-hmm.
kiss is because hookup culture is
Mm-hmm.
so prevalent in the gay
Yes.
world. And like
Yes.
he doesn't like that. My brother's also a Cancer, and he's very sensitive and
Yeah.
sweet, and he doesn't want a boyfriend just to like rail him. Like he wants the
Yes.
intimacy and like the friendship that comes with like a close partner, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel really bad for him because that's not like as normal in the gay world. I don't know if it's
Yes.
because, or at least in the male gay world, I don't know if it's
Mm-hmm.
because of the, normal function of men in
Mm-hmm.
relationships and that
Mm-hmm.
plays into it or what, but like it's not as much like that in heteronormative relationships. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's
I feel for you and I'm sorry because that sucks.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just have the podcast that's running now. We were just talking about like what's wrong with the gays. And that's what we talked about too. I don't, and it's like we can't have an app because every app that we have, every dating app that we have turns into a hookup app. And
Yeah,
it's just some of them just, it's just prolongs like Tinder and then Hinge. It just like prolongs it a lot more versus grinders and sniffies. You know exactly what you're getting.
for
And
sure.
so yeah, I don't know. I think it's because we're guys, and I said this before, we're still guys. I think a lot of men feel like in order to be a man, they have to have a family. I
Yeah.
think when you're gay, I don't know if you're, I don't remember my dad ever having that conversation with me. Maybe because he thought I was gay and he was like, well, I don't really need to have this conversation with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if we desire relationships as much. And it's funny because I follow some stars and this guy who I really, really wanted to have on because he wanted to create intimacy for like people of color. Because when
Oh,
people like when I go to people like black, just not what I'm looking for to say the
yeah.
least. And so he was going to start making this, but then he partnered with a really good another black gay star, and he shared it in a tweet that he was like that this star was like, you need to start fucking and you need to give them that rough stuff and like, and I tweeted, I'm like, no, like you can continue giving it to like we want that like
Well,
and
I'm
I get
glad
it
that you
as a
celebrated.
business. Right. As a business, you need to do both. Like, there's people who
Totally.
are like, I come for the fantasy, I come from
Mhm.
the fisting, I come from all that crap.
Yep.
But I feel like that sometimes takes precedent more than let's, give them. It's interesting too, because it used to be something about a fantasy. And now I feel like it's about can we get back to realism and get back to like intimacy? And it's
Totally.
interesting how it kind of like flipped.
That's a good perspective. Yeah, I never thought about that. It has flipped a little bit, or at least
Yeah.
trying to, at least.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So would you ever go back? Would you get a 9 to 5? Would you give up the lifestyle, or is it good for what is it worth it?
Yeah, so that's another good question. I don't want to ever give it up
Mm-hmm.
completely.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't want it to be my main source of income.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently trying to save as much as I can and invest into real estate and hopefully have
Yes.
that be like a new um, full-time thing. My
Yes.
partner's family doesn't know what I do, and that adds a
Mm-hmm.
layer because I'm very just authentic, and that's like probably one of my top three values is authenticity. And it's really hard that not that I'm lying, but like I'm not
Mm-hmm.
telling the full truth.
What do you
Um,
tell them?
I tell them I'm an account manager. That's what I like. That's my last job, and
Yes.
technically, I am my own account manager. So like,
Is fun.
my only
Isn't there like
business.
a rumor, not a rumor, it's like a funny inside joke that all OnlyFans people just say they're accountants?
Oh yeah, spicy accountants. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And so it's funny that you were an accountant. So you literally can say that.
Pretty much, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's crazy too, because my last job was like essentially it's the same. Like I made my own hours.
Yeah.
I work whenever I wanted. I worked from
Yeah.
home. Like it's not that much different when I'm talking
Yeah.
about it. I'm just not telling them what I'm physically
Mm-hmm.
doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yes, to answer your question, I want to do it as long as I can, as
Mm-hmm.
long as I enjoy it. I think eventually I'll maybe not make as many videos,
Mm-hmm.
and focus more of my energy on, real estate or something else. I don't think I'll ever go back to a regular
Mm-hmm.
9 to 5. I'm just too neurotic for that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah.
I feel you. I'm currently in the office now 3 days a week, and a lot of people are
Yeah.
like, "That's not that bad," and it drives me up the wall because it's like just because it's not bad for you, that doesn't mean it has to be not bad for me.
True.
And it's been 4 years since I stepped foot in the office, and my mind has changed since
Wow.
4 years. I've been more. I It's interesting because when I went to a school that didn't have performing arts, which I probably said this before, and that was the most trouble I ever got in my life. And I
Mm,
feel like now having therapy, it made sense because I needed a creative outlet. I couldn't just sit there and do academics. When I'm in that office and the monitors are bright in your face all the time,
yeah.
right? You're in a gray box. It's like hot and you're sweating. And it's just like if you have a headache because you're overstimulated, you just got to pop Advil and keep going.
Mhm.
And people, this one girl was like, there's so many faces here now. And she's like, some of them are grumpy, which makes me want to throw her out the window because it's just like, first of all, stop trying to police people's emotions. And
Yeah.
second of all, some of us proved for the past 4 years we don't have to be in the office. So
Mhm.
there really isn't no reason for us to be here.
Yeah.
And now I just feel like a caged animal. And as a Sag, we don't like our freedom being taken away. And I'm just like, so yeah, I do not go back. Stay.
No,
You're
no.
out. Stay over there.
That's funny. I actually have a different, I mean, who knows now that it's been a few years since
Yeah.
I've been in the office. But I miss working in an office so bad.
Really?
Yeah, I miss it. I don't think
What
I
do you
could,
miss?
I'd say more than anything, the coworkers. Because
Mm.
I am such a big talker. I'm such a big
Yes.
relationship person, but also
Yeah.
like even my friends, especially the friends that you've met, um,
Yeah.
I have never cried around them. They actually mentioned
Mm-hmm.
that the other day. I've never cried around them. That's really
Mm-hmm.
rare for me, but I
Mm-hmm.
think it's because like if you're around me every day, I am bound to cry in front of
Mm-hmm.
you. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna happen. I cry a lot. But if I'm seeing you once every week, maybe once every 2 weeks, then my focus is like, how can I benefit the group? How can I
Yeah.
benefit you? Not that I'm not
Yeah.
focused on myself as well, but it's less me oriented and more them oriented. Whereas when you're working like nonstop with somebody, or
Yeah.
even just like a few days a week, like you're getting to know like their whole life because you're
Mm-hmm.
with them for like
Mm-hmm.
hours and hours of the day. And
Mm-hmm.
just cowork relationships are always my favorite relationships. I do miss that part a lot.
We are the exact opposite. I'm like a selective social butterfly. I flap my
Wow.
wings and land on selective flowers.
Wow.
And I think socializing is a way to connect. And as we discussed at Sagittarius, we really block our connection. So I need to set that boundary because I've been burned by lots of corporate jobs through friends because I was naive and because I just talk. Like if you get me on a topic, girl, we're talking. Like I don't care if we're sitting by the post or whatever or by the water cooler and we're talking about Becky's ugly haircut and she's there and I didn't know. Like we're talking. And so I've just been burned so much and I personally need to keep that separate. And so I just need us to stay here and do our job because that's what we're hired for. And I just don't, the corporate, my job is going to find this and fire me in immediate. But in corporate America, I just don't care for the facade
Yeah.
and the like, we're a community. And I'm just like, sure, but like, give me
Yeah.
my page. I have my friends, and those I haven't cried in front of either. But like,
Mm.
I need to keep work and life separate. So you have to be my work people and stay there. And I have some coworkers I do chat with, but it still is a selective conversations.
That
I'm
is fair.
not the Cayman that you will see when we're out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
that
what I
is
wear at the I'm not wearing in the office.
for sure. For sure. It's not different. No, that makes a lot of sense. And you're right, especially with like the whole corporate community thing. That is
Yes.
true. I am like
Yeah.
in recent jobs, I mean, I've been, as most people have mistreated in
Hmm.
corporate jobs as
Hmm.
well. And I am selective about who I
Mm-hmm.
open up to, or at very least, and I hope everyone does this, but like at
Yeah.
the very least, don't fall for it when you want a raise or you deserve a raise or you
Yeah.
something and someone says no and you're just like, oh, well, we're friends. I can't push.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not the way that should be.
Yeah.
So you bring up a very good point. That
Yeah.
is a part. And I'm sure too, it's like a rose-colored glasses things. Like
Yes.
when I was in the office, I'm sure
Yeah.
I would have loved to work from home. Then
Yes.
COVID happened and I had to anyways, and
Yeah.
since then I've been working remote. So it's been a long
Yeah.
time. Maybe I'd
Yeah.
hate it. Maybe
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. I
That's
think to me, because I know there's options out there. Like my molars are just ready to taste self like find like I what is it like people are like, oh, having your own business is hard. I'm like, going to that office is hard, like, so let's switch it up, like. And
yeah.
also, I don't know if this is Sagittarius in me, but I don't like to be in one spot for a very long time. And
Yeah.
I feel like I figured out I don't know how much more I can grow in corporate America, and that really is what's getting to me. Because
Yeah.
I just that is a very scary feeling at 30, knowing you have 40 years left and you can't see yourself growing. So
Mhm.
that's why I'm like, God, just give me, like, if I have to downsize my apartment, I'll do it. But like, give me something. I'm ready. And if I follow my ass, and I follow my ass, but I need to know, like, I
Mhm.
got to figure something else out. So,
Yeah, I say
yeah,
do it. I mean, just my 2 cents. Like I say do it. It'll be worth it,
yeah,
Like you probably will
yeah,
fall on your ass a time or two, but like
yeah.
that's just pushing you to like grow into
Mm-hmm,
a better version.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think it's rare for someone to quit a corporate job, start their own thing, and then wish that they hadn't.
I do too. I do too. I don't think anyone will ever go back. I don't even, people are like, oh, yes, the money. I feel like if, I don't even think it's the money, although it is the money. I
Mhm.
think people really underestimate the freedom. And that's what I'm looking for. I don't, like I said, I would downsize my apartment. I'm
Yeah,
trying to get the freedom. I'm not trying to
yeah,
get the bells and whistles. I need the freedom, because
for
then
sure.
if I have the freedom, I know I can do the rest. I
Yeah.
just need the freedom. Like, if I didn't have to be in the office, or if I didn't have a corporate job,
Mhm.
I would be go in LA and
Mhm.
being like knocking on these podcasters' doors and be like, hello, I'm here. Let's have
Yeah,
a conversation. You know what I mean? But I can't, because I got to sit in this spot, which is,
for sure.
hard when you're like, I just let me fly, like, let me go
Right.
somewhere else to be a person I need to be. So, yeah.
Totally. That
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense.
Well, we have come to the end.
Yeah.
I I feel great. You know what? Like I said before, I don't know if I had such an emotional day, and this helped. I just had my first Curious call. I don't know if I have any more before yesterday. And these two last conversations, that might be my last, show me why I do this. So thank you so much for sitting with me and letting me be curious about you. And I had a effing blast,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So, and if you don't mind, I can, obviously I'll put your name, and then I'll put I wish I put your Instagram. Would you want people just to
Sure.
go to your Instagram and do this stuff like that? So,
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll share it on there too. Um, I'll I have a couple Instagrams, so whichever one you want
Hmm.
me to use. But
Well, it's whatever you want me to use.
okay, okay.
Is
I
Yeah.
think I don't know. One of them has like 4,000 more followers. Let's just do Amber Daniels, babe. That seems to feel like it's
Okay.
clean. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's Amber Daniels, babe. But I'll
Yeah.
message you about it too if you want that.
Perfect. Perfect. And if your friends be like, "Who is this person? I want to come on." Be like, "He is ready."
Yeah,
Just
I
send him a DM, and
will.
he'll
Cool.
be ready.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your night.
Thank you. You do the same. This
Perfect.
was so much fun.